Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Tom Maroon. He has just released a fantastic new track called Lost and Found, and I'm super excited to talk to him all about it. Tom, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, Austin.
You're very welcome.
Trying to stay cool. How are you?
Same, feeling great, hot and uncomfortable, but getting through the summer.
Summer. I get it.
And you must have had a lot of time on your hands because you're out here, you're making great music, and you're staying consistent within your releases. Like I said before we started recording, the song is fantastic. And I sincerely mean that. I'd love to just hop in and immediately ask you, what is it about though? What inspired the song and its creation?
Yeah, absolutely. The song is about uh, kind of letting some recklessness get the better of you. Being in a situation where you're trying to make ends meet, you're trying to do what you got to do, and along the way, it's pretty difficult to keep up with self care, self maintenance, or in the case of the song, more specifically, car maintenance, because song's a little story about a car accident.
Oh geez. One that
Yeah.
you were in or
No, you know
no?
what?
Okay, that's good.
It's sort of lyrically, it's kind of based on a general, state of being that I'm familiar with.
Sure.
But honestly, I really like writing stories. I really like just making stuff up.
Yeah.
So the story itself is not autobiographical.
Probably for the best if it was a dangerous accident. So
Right.
yeah, keep that up. Well, so you perform as a solo artist, but do you have any outside help putting the songs together? Because like the production is killer and obviously the instrumentation is beautiful. I want to get into that, but like as far as the fine tuning, is it just you?
It is just me.
Oh dang.
I do the production, the recording, performing, and the writing.
Mhm.
I do have some help on the mixing mastering end of things. I get stuff
That's
mastered with a great engineer, Nick Zampiello of New Alliance East. He's got a studio
nice.
in Boston. Um, but yeah, there's a full album that's going to be coming out hopefully later this year,
Ah.
where there are a couple of songs on the album where there was a bit of co-writing help, but this one was just me.
Dude, that's super impressive. Obviously, like the mixing and mastering is a whole nother beast, but like I think once people listen, they'll quickly realize like there's a lot going on in this song. And it begs this next question that I've listened to the song probably 5 times already, and there's a ton of genre influence. Like it's not just one thing. Like it really is a mix of so many different styles and sounds and just like it works. So I'd love to know like how would you put a label on this? Like, because it's a little bit of everything. What would you call it?
When I try to sum it up in just a word or two, I feel like
Yeah, you can use it more than a word or two,
you
but
know, what I eventually end up coming back to at the end of the day is like, I guess it's just kind of like a pop song in the end. But
yeah,
as far as the influences that go into it, um, I'm really into a lot of sort of like producer sample based stuff. This song in particular was definitely inspired by a love of like a lot of hip hop instrumental stuff.
yeah,
So that's kind of where this beat came from, the song. And lyrically, I was talking about the story of the song, sort of like the fiction of it. When it comes to that side of writing, I'm really inspired by sort of like film score and like musical theater stuff.
hmm
So I tend to kind of approach things like this is like all right, a song in a musical, and I want to kind of bring that
totally,
similar
yeah.
level of drama to it. But yeah, and my first love, my first musical instrument and tool for writing is generally guitar.
Okay,
So over top of this sample based stuff, I'm trying to work in a little bit of like how can I tie something that's kind of more live, more human into this.
right.
So there's some guitar stuff going on too.
Definitely hear that because, like I said, there's so much going on, but like it works, and and so you have this album on the way, and I don't want to like push you to talk more about it because I want to focus on the single, but I do want to know like as far as experimentation goes, are we going to hear something similar or like a different like sonic palette? Like what do you have in store from what's come out from what's coming?
I would say that in general on the rest of the album, things are a little bit more guitar based than they
Okay,
are in songs
sure,
specifically. But I really love working in elements of more like sample based
sure,
or just kind of like heavily affected psychedelic kind of samples and stuff like that. And
yeah,
there's several songs where, as far as the core of the song, it might sort of seem like it's like straightforward rock band instrumentation, but I
no,
like working in, different sections, a little outro or intro with some
totally,
strings or something like that.
yeah,
Again, with that musical theater influence, trying to tie everything together.
I get it.
They're rock songs, but there's always some kind of sample stuff going on.
Makes sense. I mean, do you find that like your influences and like the music that you listen to on a daily basis has any impact on the music you're making, or do you actively try to like be like no, like it needs to be different in some way?
I think it does have an influence in especially the production side of things.
Okay.
Um, a lot of the sample stuff, hip hop, or kind of like trip hop instrumental
Yeah, yeah,
influence
yeah.
stuff is definitely taken from things that I'm listening to currently. But my foundation musically and what I grew up on is basically just rock stuff, indie rock, punk,
Yeah.
whatever. So I feel like no matter what new stuff gets worked in there that I'm listening to now, there's always kind of this backdrop of like, but it's going to have guitar and drums, right?
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I mean, that's kind of the thing with music nowadays is like everything is a little bit of everything. Like with the advancements in production and just recording, like rock isn't just rock anymore. Like it's so easy to infuse all these different elements of what you may enjoy. And so it's cool to see these blends and the way that they work. So man, I would say keep it up. Like I wouldn't want to hear any major shifts in sound in the near future.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah,
Totally.
I mean, everybody has more control over the final product now than they
Absolutely.
ever have. If you're making music at home, you've got all the time in the world, for better or worse,
That's
to
true.
craft it how you want to.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than having someone breathing down your neck and saying, "Hey, man, we need the song finished by next week." And because like you can't rush art, you can't rush music. That's pointless. Now, how long have you been making music for? Like, what was like the turning point for you to be a listener to like a creator?
I started playing guitar, elementary school, just kind of like picking it up, messing around with
Sure.
it. Um, but I feel like the moment when I really started to fall in love with the idea of like creating new stuff was probably in high school. I started kind of writing little acoustic guitar pop songs.
Okay.
I hadn't really dived too deep into kind of exploring like the versatility of what I could do as a solo performer. Just so
Sure.
much like I got an acoustic guitar. I'll,
Right.
you know, try to do some of that singer songwriter guy pop stuff. So that's some stuff that I've kind of started from 16, 17.
Oh,
Got,
dang. Okay.
yeah, I got into performing in my hometown. I'm from Greensburg, Pennsylvania, which is a little outside Pittsburgh.
Cool.
Not a whole lot going on there musically, but there are some performance opportunities.
All
So
right.
started doing the open mic stuff out there, and really fell in love with being on stage, performing, doing some on stage banter. I
Sure.
love the whole experience, and I feel like performing kind of got the ball rolling for me.
Right.
I want to explore this.
I can only like I'm not a performer, but I can only imagine that's the highlight of like a hard day's work is you're in the studio and so much of making music is so insular, especially as a solo musician. Like you're in your room, you're tweaking around, you're probably second guessing yourself, like, is what I'm making even good right now? Because you hear it 1,000 times, you know? And then you can actually get direct feedback. There's such a difference between sending a friend a song and saying, hey, listen to this, and then texting you a couple notes, rather than like visually seeing someone react in real time. You take those notes and then you run with it on future songs.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. That sort of live in moment feedback is amazing,
Totally.
and
Yeah.
I,
Priceless.
I love the energy of it. I
Yeah.
love kind of feeding off whatever I'm getting from an audience.
Right.
Like I said, I do a lot of talking between songs.
Nice.
Try to have some sort of anecdote about something.
Yeah, man.
I really enjoy just the kind of off the cuff, in the moment experience.
Totally. I mean, even just an explanation of the song helps so much for some people. They can make some sort of connection to it. I think it's just nowadays, not necessarily that people don't listen to lyrics, but so many people just listen to music for the way that it makes them feel rather than like taking the time to be like, oh, this could be relatable. So keep up the banter, because I don't really like when bands just get up there and play and there's no audience interaction. Like, got to make it a little bit personal.
Right, right. You're
Yeah.
putting on a show.
Absolutely. So, like taking out the performance side of things throughout the entire process of making music, and there's so many different parts, like from the dreaming up the music to the actually recording it to the clicking submit button. Is there something that you look forward to the most throughout the entire process?
I think the two things I look forward to the most are this may be telling about how the process goes sometimes.
Sure. It's
They
always
would both
changing.
be the moment when you finally first feel satisfied with a
Ooh,
song. I mentioned earlier, having all the time in the world to work on things. I
yeah.
have been known to kind of mull over a song for probably much longer than is necessary. But when
Reasonable.
that there is sort of this tangible moment for me of like, yeah, that's it. That's what I had
Yeah.
in mind. That's what I was going for. That and then just the releasing.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of it. Just the moment when you finally put something out. It's been 6 months to a year prior to this single that I
Yeah.
put everything out. So riding high off of that. Very
Yeah,
excited.
man. I mean, yeah, you gotta relish in your own accomplishments sometimes. You can't just let it pass you by. And like I love the release process of like, okay, we're putting out a single a month or a single every 2 weeks. It's like sometimes you just gotta let a song breathe and let people listen and get the feedback, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, totally. And so obviously you're playing shows at this point. So I'd love to hear, do you have anything upcoming that you'd like to plug as far as shows or just any sort of live performance?
Now I have thinking about stuff that's coming up. I believe the next thing is actually going to be a performance with a band that I play with.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
it's a band who I used to live in Boston a few
Okay.
years ago, and I was playing with a band there that's
Sure.
called Miss Bliss. And having moved a little ways away from there, I'm not always able to be involved, but
Sure.
I've been spending a little more time there lately. And Miss Bliss actually has a few shows booked in Boston coming up over the next few months. The next one, I believe, is not until September 15th.
Okay.
But it's O'Brien's in Boston. If anybody knows about that up there in New England.
Nice. Well, it gives you something to look forward to. And if anything, the downtime is more time to work on your own music. Are you a contributing member of this band, or is it just like a live situation?
I've done a lot of recording with them in the
Okay.
past. Not always so much on the writing end, a little bit of arranging. I play
Sure.
guitar in the band and do a little bit of synth and key stuff.
Yeah.
So I would say more so than anything, it's the live
Okay,
element of
cool.
it.
I was gonna say though, it's got to be difficult playing in a band, and it's like, how do you differentiate from what you should include in your own music to what a band is playing? You know what I mean? It's like you you might want to be selfish and keep the good ideas to yourself, but it's like a band is a team effort, so don't have to worry about that, which is kind of nice.
Exactly, right? I just, show up, play guitar solo here and there, sing a harmony.
Totally. Okay, so as far as like your own shows go, is there a song that you'd like to perform the most? And it could also be something that isn't released yet that you're really looking forward to getting out there and playing.
There is, on the album that's coming out, there is a song called Low Flyers, which is actually
Okay.
the title track of the album.
Oh, nice.
Is That's a song that maybe more so than any of the other ones, I think, kind of has that musical theater or kind of like dramatic. This is a story kind of
Yeah,
development. Um, it's one that starts out slow, and then by the end of it, it's just like a punk song.
awesome.
So that's a favorite. Hopefully, going to be putting that one out soon, the next month or so. Yeah, that one's
Nice.
mastering treatment.
Very cool. I assume that there's definitely going to be a lead up to like the album. It's not just one lead single and then all right, guys, here you go. You gotta like tease the hype a little bit, you know?
Exactly, right?
Totally. So considering we're recording this, we're just a little bit past the halfway point of the year, which is wild to even admit. Can't even believe we're in the middle of July. But I want to know, like, what does the next year in your life look like, given things go correctly and according to plan, which is definitely hard to plan around these days.
Yeah, you know, on the music side of things, getting this album out sooner than later
Sure.
is my first priority. Shooting for that.
Definitely.
I would say sometime in the next few months.
Okay.
And beyond that, getting more into performing. As everybody did to some extent, in earlier pandemic times,
Yeah.
really cut off performing for a while. Slowly over the past year, I've been doing a little bit more and more here and there, especially when it's nice enough out to play.
Totally.
So more performing, absolutely. Trying to perform in some some bigger spots as
Yeah.
always. And beyond that, on the life side of things,
Hmm.
I've got a couple of babies at home here
Oh
between
wow. Okay.
one new puppy
Nice.
and also an actual human
An
baby
actual baby.
coming up on a year and a half old as well.
Wow. Okay.
So,
So you've got your hands filled, to say the least.
exactly right.
My
I
goodness.
start with the excuse me. I
Yeah.
start with the music side of things, but
Totally.
a lot of stuff going on at home that
Yeah.
on some level takes priority, takes the time.
I agree. I fully agree. Music is fun and all, but obviously family comes first. I fully get it.
Right,
Yeah.
I'm mid puppy training right now.
Oh, dude, been there. I spent this whole last year doing that. It's a
Yeah,
pain in the butt, but worth it in the end. You just got to stay consistent, as I'm sure you know. Totally. Well, I've got a couple more questions for you. I want
sure.
to know, what are you listening to these days? Like, what's been at the top of your playlists, and is there anything that you can recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see. So some stuff that I kind of always have in rotation,
Mhm.
which may not be everybody's taste, but
All
I'm
right.
usually listening to some Tom Waits here and there. I'm a
Oh
big
yeah.
fan of just the songwriting, and a couple of specific albums that I really love.
Sure.
Listen to I think the album Bone Machine is a favorite. It's
Okay. Taking notes.
not for maybe not for everybody. It's a bit of a noisy one, but I usually have in rotation sort of a combination of like a binary of something kind of abrasive and experimental and out there, and usually just some like funky, dancey stuff.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I've been finding myself listening to a lot of James Brown lately too.
Nice.
Kind of
Okay.
a totally different direction, but
Yeah.
a lot of stuff in that realm, just sort
Okay.
of like punk and like stuff from that James Brown era,
Sure.
definitely influences me a lot guitar playing wise.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say anything that goes off in one of those two diverging directions.
You're a man of many tastes, and your music reflects that. So
Real noisy or real smooth usually.
that's all right. All right, Tom, I've got one more question. And basically the question is for the person that is going to discover you from this, and for the person that's going to listen to your music for the first time, what is an opening message that you'd like to say to them?
My opening message would be pretend like you're watching a musical. You know,
I think
uh,
that's solid.
yeah, and enjoy the different sounds. Hope it gives you a lot of different energies.
I
No,
think
you know
that's
what? Here's
yeah.
my answer.
Okay.
My hope is that throughout the course of any song that you're listening to, that you have a lot of different thoughts and feelings throughout the song. We're
Sure.
going on a roller coaster here in terms of like different song sections and production styles, and messages in the songs. I want you to be ready to feel a lot of different things.
I think that's a solid opening message. Tom, I want to thank you so much again for taking the time to do this. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to speak with you. Please let me plug your music for you one last time. The song is called Lost and Found. We will have links so that people can listen and share and follow along and do all that fun stuff. But I'm super excited because it sounds like much more is coming on the way. So I'll make sure to keep tuned. But yeah, I want to thank you so much again. This has been a great conversation.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you so much for making the time to talk.
You're very welcome, man. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to speak soon.
Same to you.
Cool, man. Take care. Talk to you later.